Looking ahead to Thursday racing, we're back at Turffontein. We're on the inside track for an 8-race program, which commences at 12:30, and we've got a work riders. 4 Racing welcomes you maiden plate over the 1450 to get the ball rolling. But don't forget, you can like us and give us your thoughts on recent events, be it racing or other sports that are covered by our sponsors. That is a Betway on Twitter, and of course you can also like us on WhatsApp. A very warm welcome to you, and I say a warm welcome to Darren Burrows, who is remote, and in studio with me is Del Marie. And we start off with Mr. Burrows. Now, a work riders maiden plate. We've lost the first time at number 11, Grande Orso. That leaves us a field of 13. And the 2, Gardia Regina, that is the stable companion to the scratching, is the favorite at the moment, but doesn't look to be a race that is deeply stooped with some exciting form.
Yes, this is very tricky. You haven't got much form in the race to work on. Oklahoma Twister, he does interest me on his best form and his turn of foot he has shown in the past. But he's drawn out at 11. Blinkers go on. 1 and 2, there's only a half a length separating them on their last start, Galadorn and Guardia Regine. So 1, 2, and 4 I've included. Number 5 also ran against numbers 1 and 2 last time out. He was just off them. And the 13 and 14 from the Brett Crawford stable have outside chances. So not a race I would get involved in at all.
Okay, you unfortunately have the onerous task, Mr. Marie, of getting us off to a winning start in the Bible. Good morning.
Morning.
And looking at that form line that was suggested, both of those 2 who ran, or the 3 that ran behind Midwinter Wind, were unfancied, totally unfancied. In fact, the Crawford stable had a runner that was more fancied in that race that didn't quite put it together. And it was just yet another kick in the teeth as far as bipod players were concerned, because their first leg, biggest outside and second biggest outside, had come through to run first and second on that occasion, if you recall, about 2 Thursdays back. But anyway, let's get straight to it. The first race, it's 4:15:50. The trip draw obviously plays some sort of a part as well.
Yeah, it was Stinky Poe's horse that won the first race.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
indeed.
JJ's Eagle.
Yeah.
So like, obviously I have to lean towards number 2 over number 1. I mean, Penicillin Mqaqwa has ridden close to 40 winners,
Yes.
whereas the work rider on number 1 hasn't had a place yet, and he's drawn out wider. So I'll favour number 2 over number 1. Breath of Magic, Vusunzi Seteto is also more than capable in the irons. He's well drawn, but he's a moderate sort. I've thrown him in because he's got a few things in his favour. Oklahoma Twister. Now, Tom Lukele is a very patient work rider.
Yes.
And I think he'll want to settle this horse with the blinkers for the first time. He'll be rattling home, and they go quite quick in his work rider races. So he'll be staying on best of all. And I've just gone with one other, and that's number 12, because Tsapiso Matwele from a neat draw. Fabian Habib stables in form. Number 12, Highveld Storm, falls part of my play. So I went numbers 2, 3, 4, and 12. To be honest, if I survive, I'll be chuffed.
No, I think you'll be happy indeed. I think good inclusion as well, the 3 Breath of Magic. Let's confirm that selection for the bipod, courtesy of Daryl Marie. And of course, Breath of Magic comes out of that Turconnell form line, and I think you'll agree that Turconnell won a very nice race, coming back off for that little break for the De Kock stable. And the stable companion, I think, is one to keep in the notebook for next time. The name escapes me slightly, but you've got a better memory than me. Right, so it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 12 for Daryl. Leg number 1 of the bipod. 12:30 is our meeting getting underway. Race number 2, we jump up to a merit-rated 84 handicap for the start of the PA. It's over the 2,600 meters, and not surprisingly, the one battleground is on the higher echelons of the betting in race number 2. And just having a look at that betting, 15-10 now from, I beg your pardon, that is actually overdue betting. We'll get back to that betting. But of course, we can go to Mr. Burrows. Battleground, second last time out behind Absolute Value, who's been in rude health for the Fabian Habib stable. It's Battleground up against the field reduced to 6 now, so that will be up against 5 rivals. The 3 Arlington action has been scratched. In fact, Ty Zaki has both of his runners scratched this afternoon. Battleground does not look an ideal PA banker. That is a regular pilot Craig Zaki aboard for the Lucky Udalaka stable.
Well, for me, he's my first choice. He does like course and distance. He'll be competitive. His last run was a cracker. I was disappointed with his penultimate start because sometimes this horse can be one-paced, all depending on the pace of the race. So if there's a hot speed on, he's going to be running through horses. But if not, he could just remain that one-paced and just stay on. Now, you've got Arlington Action. He's a course specialist. I liked his last run, and he stays all day. So he could be right there. Ryan Munger has done very well on this horse in the past. Fushimi Inari, 53 kilos to shoulder, up in trip for the first time. If he stays, he's a runner. Banner Bridge of the rest. So it is a small competitive field, but Battleground, probably the horse to beat, but he has got a lot of weight to shoulder.
Yeah, I think unfortunately with the Burrows, it's actually been made smaller with the recent scratching of the 3 Arlington Action. In fact, Ty Zaki was mentored to bring in 2 runners, Arlington Action, and then a bit later on Rebethio. They are both scratched, so we're down to 6 runners. But I think Battleground remains your first choice. And looking at the betting, it is at 2-1, Mr. Marie. Battleground, also your first choice?
No. I like his chances. He's one of the course and distance in the past, but in my mind, he's a better horse on a more testing track, Cecil, with a longer run in. So what you see is what you get with him. Obviously, like Darren touched on, if they go quick, he'll be staying on in the later stages. But if they crawl up front and they sprint for home, he's going to be in trouble with that weight. So I'll give him a chance. I'm certainly not going to be having bets on him. Banner Bridge. Now, this horse has really done well since returning from a layoff. He's put in 2 solid efforts. But if you like him, Fushimi Inari is the horse to beat because he's 6 kilograms better off for a neck beating in his penultimate start. And he's in receipt of 7.5 kilograms from Battleground. But he has to confirm he stays. He's bought the non-platina out of a Fortwood mare. So I think he's crying out for this extra. I'm going for number 6 over here, Fushimi Inari.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a look at your selections. And you've got the right man on top who's been aboard the last 3 times. That is Mr. Pilisan Mklolo, who seems to excel when he's got to ride horses over the trip. That is, in this instance, 2,600 meters. He certainly seems to be a very good judge of pace. That is race number 2, the first leg of the PA. A reminder once again that we've had the recent scratching of number 3, and that is Arlington Action. Right, we get to race number 4, the first leg of the first jackpot, and a competitive maiden plate certainly has 1 or 2 that have that come on look and could certainly impose themselves once getting past that maiden win. And in this instance, priced up to get out of the maidens in race number 4 will be number 1, a Quick Trip, who's currently at 12-10. Empress of Normandy, beaten by a useful sort last time out at DeMarco's Jet, and runs 3rd on that occasion, just 2 lengths behind. That is at 3-1, having been nibbled at from 33-10. 3 Sound Machine, Sue Pettigrew, and Pilisan Mklolo. That is at 4-1. Right, we start off with you, Mr. Marie. What are we going for here? The 1 Quick Trip, having that first run on the Highveld, or do we go to the improving Empress of Normandy?
If you open the book, you'll say number 1's a racing certainty on form, because she is. She's got the best form coming to this race. She's got the strongest form lines. So on paper, it looks to be an absolute penalty kick. But this filly, Cecil, she's let the side down on numerous occasions in the past. If you told me a few months ago that she's still going to be a maiden, I would have said you got to screw loose, because she is deserving of a win. Last time out of the 1250, she was over racing. So now she's on the Highveld going 14-15. Number 1, she has to settle in running. If she just reproduces her best form, I expect her to win. But I don't think she's proven herself to be one that you can really rely on. She's going to run another honest race, but I don't know. I don't come into this race as confident as Darren Burrows does. On paper, I am confident, but it's just the individual. Number 3, Sound Machine. I watched her later start, which is clearly her best to date. She was caught very wide in the early stages, 3 wide going up the turffontein hill. So now for Sunday from a 1 draw, I think she's got that's in her favour, and she's racing fit. So I'm leaning towards number 3 just because of those 2 factors, the draw and the fitness. But on paper, you can't compare the 2. So I'm going 3 from 1 over here.
Please give us some confidence, Mr. Burrows. A quick trip. I mean, it is a third of 5 lengths out of 13 runners to, I think, third placed in the recent Group 1 Mallorca Stakes. That is double Grand Slam. We've done well in the other features for its own age group. And then there are some decent bits of form there. I think it shouldn't take too much winning or beat in this field, sir.
Yes, she is drawn out deep, I think, at 10 with the scratching. Oh, sorry. There isn't a scratching, is there?
Race number 4, we don't have a scratching. No, one of the few that we don't have a scratching, unfortunately.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Drawn out at 11 quick trip. It all depends on how she races, because she has got a tendency to over race, but then again on the high fault they go fast. And I'm hoping that she can slot in towards the lead, like maybe one off the fence sitting 3rd or 4th. That would be ideal, so she can drop her head and relax. Because her run over 1400 at Kenilworth, when she got beat by Royals, she was overdoing it up front, and I thought she was going to fall in a hole, but she did stay on all the way to the line, suggesting the 14's not out of her reach. So I'm hoping that she's fit and well, overcomes the draw and gets the job done. I've only suggested a 100 Rand bet because of the draw. I would have been more confident if she was drawn 1 to 5.
That is a big drop by your standards, Mr. Burrows. We're looking at the normal 750, 1,000 Rand bets, but as you say, the draw and the first time on the high felt, I guess. But free people are free to enlarge on that investment. Quick trip in those familiar silks of the breeders, that is Ridgemont, is the confidence win selection for Darren Burrows. Right, race number 5. Please note the scratchings are 3 in total. The 7 Allende, the 9 a Work of Time, and the 10 Robert Burns. All Brett Crawford runners scratched in race number 5. Now leaves us the field of 11. Doesn't diminish for what could be a spectacle on the afternoon. That is the first leg of the second jackpot. Now let's just turn it to Mr. Marie before we go over to Darren Burrows for his thoughts on the jackpot. Now the 11 Willow Express. I've been married to the horse, but I did announce a temporary separation the last time. The 3 Richard the First is actually a very interesting form line. It's the third last run, anti-penultimate run, just under 3 lengths to Unzen, who came and obliterated the field. Yes, some are having prep runs, etc. It still beat a very good field. And then the penultimate run, Fix Princess didn't quite come through and frank that form once again.
She ran second.
Yeah. And then the horse that beat it was fancied last time out and never won. That is a Stable Companion. Well, just ran behind it.
They ran third, yeah. Runway Bomb.
That's right.
Yeah, Cecil, there's quite a bit of collateral form over here. On paper, there's not much separating Fully Loaded and Prince of Green. Not much separating Willow Express and Richard the First. It's quite a difficult race, this. Excuse me, Cecil, but now that you're written off Willow Express, I'm going to be going for him.
Okay.
His ratings come down further. And if you watch his later start, they went very quick in that race. If you recall, there was an apprentice on Lebecho.
Yes.
And this was challenged at the 600 and just fell in a hole in the latter stages. He's never far off.
Yeah.
He's going to get it right one of these days. And I think Craig Zack is going to suit him. Be a little bit more patient on him. So I've thrown him in. And I like the improvement Prince of Green has made since being gelded.
Yes.
Last time out, he had no right to feature in that race.
Yeah.
He was out at the weights. There were horses in that race by the names of, let me just get this for you, Cecil. Who was in there? Give Me Another Chance was in there. The Africa House, Hotter Ruby.
Yeah.
So back in the handicap,
behind Sandringham Summit.
Yes, back in the handicap, Champagne Cocktail was even in that race.
Yeah.
Back in the handicap, I'm going to be leaning towards number 2, Prince of Green, ahead of the likes of number 11, Willow
Will
Express.
Right. Mr. Burrows, now having a look at your fifth race selections, because it's going to be the jackpot we're looking ahead to. Prince of Green, penultimate run, showed a very, very, very good turn of foot in holding off what was a fast finishing Command Pilot, who unfortunately didn't quite frank the form next time out. Things just didn't go right because that was the talk on course. And then last time out, main defender, as Daryl pointed out, was a high quality field. Where does Prince of Green rank in your first leg? And would you be taking a little bit of a nibble at Prince of Green at 7-1?
He is one of my leading lights in the race. I really like his chances. His penultimate start, he won a good race beating Command Pilot. I don't know what went wrong with Command Pilot, but he was never traveling last time out, and he dropped out of it down the inside. So that wasn't great for the form line, but surely this horse can bounce back after that last run in a feature race where he wasn't disgraced. Now you've got Fully Loaded, one of the most consistent horses around of recent. He's going to run another honest race. I would have preferred a 1200, but he does stay this trip. Of the rest, Mitch got his wish. Now have a look at his last 2 starts. He had a year layoff and his 2 comeback runs, 1 length off and half a length off. So surely having his peak run, he's got to be a serious runner in this lineup. Richard the First has a chance. I probably thought Mitch got his wish over Prince of Green and Fully Loaded.
Max the Otter, have you discounted after that last run, or you give another chance?
No, he's definitely a runner up in trip.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, it's a field, and understandably so. We've all made arguments for one runner or another in that first leg of the second jackpot race, number 5. And as mentioned at the top of this preview, does look one of the highlights on the afternoon. Do put a line through number 7, 9, and 10, and that might just bring the outlay to that perm down from that 840. That is race number 5 at Turffontein. Okay, the Magnus table at just the one run carded at the Turffontein Racecourse, where we're racing on the inside track on Thursday. Race number 6 has lost that only runner, the one at Dungeons, in those familiar looks of Jonathan Finlayson. Now, as far as the race number 6 is concerned, looking at the favoritism, that is with a place in the sun and the colors of the AWSM Racing Syndicate, and that is bidding for that third win from 12 outings. But it doesn't end there. Mr. Burrows, it's a field reduced to 10 runners. Is there value in the race, or you have something that you are quite strong on?
The definite value in the race has to be the course specialist, the Inkosana. Now, this horse, of recent, he's run some good races. 2 lengths Indian War Dance, 6 lengths Indian Ocean wasn't a bad run. I like it when they go handy with this horse to the front and catch me if you can tactics. So I'm hoping they overcome the deep draw and go handy, because I don't think he runs his best races from off the pace. So with 54 kilos, the Inkosana at around 8 or 10 to 1 has to go in. A place in the sun's a definite runner on that last run behind Gilda Gray, only beaten ahead. Carnelo's got a chance. I see Toffus is only 7 to 2 in the betting, but I don't think he stays 1,800 meters. So I've included him, but I'm not strong on him. So the Inkosana, the value each way, and a place in the sun, the obvious danger.
Thank you so much, Darren. That is race 6, numbers 6 and 9. In fact, 9 and 6 in his order of preference. Now is the 7. Excuse me, but I've got to get this one in. Is Carnelo boxing above his weight, or is Carnelo the real deal? And at 7 to 2, where do you rank?
He's probably on form, the horse to beat for me, Cecil. When he returned from a short break a few months ago, from the widest of draw, Calvin bounced him, and he was never in doubt. And he actually beat the favourite, a place in the sun quite convincingly on that occasion, by 4 1/4 lengths, and he's only 1.5 kilograms worse off. So Jason Gates from a neat draw, he's certainly going to put him in a prominent position, if not lead, because he's very fit. And this track suits his running style. So, or his running style suits this track. So I like Cornelo's chances over here. But I don't know if you recall a few weeks ago, Clyde Basil threw me under the bus and said I must do a post-race interview at the spur of the moment. And I called James Brett Crawford. Anyway, this horse won on that occasion, a place in the sun. And I said to James, I said, what about a set of blinkers or something just to help this filly travel? Because Bello's always off asking this horse to run a long way from home. And now what's interesting is a set of cheek pieces gone, a place in the sun. So for that reason only, I'm going to be leaning towards her over Canelo.
Okay.
So 6 from 7 for me.
Well, I hope a place in the sun does come through. And let's have a look at your pick 3 suggestion. 2 races, 6, 7, and 8. And if it does come through to win, I will be on course tomorrow. I will say, please, Daryl does send his regards to Brett. 6 and 7, that is the first the leg. And it's a 30 rand outlay as you go with the 3 horses and another 5 add to the back. It looks a very good pick 3, but of course, if you want to expand on that first leg, do not forget the 9 courtesy of Darren Burrows. That is your pick 3, the last pick 3 chance at Turffontein on Thursday.